Yo, it's me again on this other channel. I uploaded again. What? Crazy. What? Wolfie didn't upload 2 videos and then let it die. Oh my god, no way. Anyways, today I have 5 people. Wait, hold on. I can do this and this will be really epic. Wow. 5 people that or not will. 5 people I have on my little mental list who I would really like to have in blockwars. I've said stuff about people I'd want to have in the past, but I think it's fun to kind of tell you maybe some people that I think would be fun. I tried picking a variety here, okay? A variety of people that I think would hit different aspects of the whatever. And I tried to pick some people that I might not have spoken much about in the past, because I feel like it's interesting. So I picked 5 people. 2 people who are, I would consider more like Nintendo oriented. 2 people who I would consider more like mainstream-ish streaming, and then 1 Minecrafter. You might have already seen the entire list because I just showed the tabs up top. Not that it matters. But number 1 is a Poketuber. This is probably the Poketuber I would like in most because I do like Pokemon a lot, and I like Johnstone's personality a lot. I was literally just watching his stream because I was just like, oh, let me just tune in for fun. And I actually was watching, which I don't really watch streams like that actively usually. So he's great. I would love him in. Put him on a team with like Eric and whoever. It would be a baller and a banger. There was a thing they did recently, which was John, Eric being Point Crow. There was Party Arlie, who was like a more recent Poketuber. She does like streaming and Twitch, I think. She'd be really cool too. She seems great. And there was also, I forgot his name, Purple Cliff. Other one, Purple Cliff would be cool too. But Johnstone is my number 1 wanted Poketuber. So that's 1. Number 2, in terms of other things I used to do when I was a bit younger and maybe kind of have dropped nowadays, was I used to play a lot of Smash Bros. And I used to play a lot of Brawlhalla. Those are fighting games, and if I want any fighting game rep, it would be HBox, Hungrybox, the GOAT, the legend, the 3-time number 1 SSBM player in the world, Mr. Jigglypuff. I mean, Hungrybox would just be a really cool rep for fighting games. I mean, if you pay much attention to like content creation in terms of streaming, and you've watched the Streamer Awards in the past, you'll know that I think it was either last year or the year before, Maximilian Dude, who is like most known for in terms of fighting game streaming or fighting game content, really mentioned how like underrepresented or like how much more attention there could be for fighting games, and that fighting games are really cool. And there's other people who also talked about that, and not just him, because I think what's it called? Literally this time around, there was someone who won the fighting game stream of the year and then Lily Pichu got nominated, and because of Tekken, and I think it was related to Tekken. I completely forgot. Was it Sajam? I think it was Sajam from the Sajam Slam. I think that guy also talked about how fighting games are important, blah blah blah, whatever. Regardless, wrapping things together, Hungrybox would be cool. I like Hungrybox. I mean, he's more of a Smash Bros guy, and someone I definitely have seen around a lot. I mean, HBox also had his little time to shine in Miskiff's Schooled series, where I think he ended up winning the first season or something along those lines. I could be wrong. Or like the second season. So would be cool to have HBox. He seems great. Next up, some women. First off, Janet. I've talked about Janet in the past a lot. This is a pretty recent person I've really gotten on my radar. Obviously, I've known of Janet for a while, but I think in MCC Season 4, she had a couple extra appearances compared to previous, and she seems like a really nice, like high energy breath of fresh air in the event scene. I think for rookies specifically, that would be an environment where she would be really fun to have, because I feel like that's usually a little bit more casual, bit more vibes and content oriented. Admittedly, not sure who exactly she would be teamed with, but I do think it would be really fun to have her in. And this kind of applies to Ray as well. Ray obviously is like one of the biggest streamers, one of the most well-known streamers in the world at this point, really, or at least in terms of longevity, a household name that people very much know of, which makes it probably a lot more difficult to get in contact with her for something like blockwars, of course. But similar to Janet, I think she is someone who I really like in terms of content that she produces and the energy she usually brings to content. Obviously, this applies to many other people from, OTV and Friends is kind of a umbrella term for a lot of these people that, Ray and Janet are included in. But I think these are two people that I would say are standouts to me personally. That would be really fun to have in at some point. So just wanted to give you some insight further into, who I would like to have in. Ray has been obviously a long-term person I would have wanted to have in, because even with MCC, I want to see Ray play more. I assume she's just very busy because obviously, like mentioned, she is someone who is very active. And in terms of Janet, like mentioned, much more of a recent thing, because I really appreciate what energy she brings to a team. And for example, my favorite team from MCC Season 4 had Janet on it because of the interesting combination there was, and because of how well that POV ended up going, in my opinion, at least. Finally, is the person that I think, if you have been watching my streams recently, you'll understand a lot more why I would like this to happen, and that is Etho. Obviously, Etho is someone who has a very legendary status in terms of Minecraft content creation on YouTube, but recently being since he re-debuted in MCC Season 4 kickoff, he has shown his face a lot, very frequently on MCC Island, and because I am someone who actively plays on MCC Island, I've gotten the opportunity to, briefly chat, interact, whatever, with Etho, not in voice, just in-game, and it's been very nice. Etho is a very, surprisingly open person, I would say, in terms of having some interactions. Usually I feel like what happens with content creators that have the status that he has, you'll notice that they have some level of ego that makes it so they don't interact with the people that, want to interact with them. And obviously, to an extent, I understand that, because as a content creator myself, sometimes I'm just not in the mood. But Etho, I have seen almost exclusively be really open whenever people are in his actual proximity on the server, really open to just interacting with people and engaging with people, and I really appreciate that. I really commend that as well, and I think that's really cool. And it would be just really cool to have him as a legacy guest appearance. I don't expect Etho to become a regular in any event, for that matter. Obviously, MCC would be the prime candidate, but I don't think that's going to happen. But it would be really fun to have him in as a one-time player, or if he wants to play more, obviously as a infrequent player, I would assume. And I think it would be really cool. So that's 5 people that just off the dome I really wanted to just mention real quick, kind of, I guess, a mini shout out. In any case, really, I think if you're unfamiliar with these people, or of any of these people, I would be surprised if you don't know about Etho if you watch my content, and Ray, and probably Janet as well. But if either HBox or John, more so, is someone you are not familiar with already, then I would recommend checking him out. I think John will be someone who you might be able to appeal to a little bit more, because I feel like John is a slightly more universal creator in terms of the audience appeal. His target demographic is a little bit wider, obviously because he is a Poketuber. Generally it'll be a little bit more of a younger audience, but his content can be very easily enjoyed by people who are obviously adults and beyond. Not beyond adults, that would be, but whatever, all right. Adults still can watch Johnstone, and I think HBox is maybe slightly more adult-leaning content. Not that he's very, very what's it called, unhinged or not unhinged. I can't think of the word, but very adult-like. It's more he portrays a bit more of a mature personality, which obviously doesn't really matter between John and HBox if either of them is more mature or not, but that's just kind of how I wanted to portray it, because that is true. I think Itchbox is a little bit more of a mature guy, and I think it would be, it could suit you very well if you're interested in fighting games. I think he's someone that would be worth checking out. And then, yeah, obviously Janet and Ray and Etho, I think you'll probably be familiar with, but also, obviously, if you have seen them in events and you like the chats that are being mentioned regarding them, then maybe you would like their content. I don't know. Maybe tune in for once. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all another time. Don't know when. Goodbye.